Alright guys, since I'm not there today, I want you to watch this video about the immune system. You can find a link to this video on the worksheet that you're about to do. You can also find a link on Moodle. It's called the Immune System Part 1. Today I want you guys to complete the worksheet questions. Be sure to answer them completely on a separate sheet of paper. Some of you the last time we did this didn't do a very good job of answering the questions. Make sure you answer them completely. You also need to outline pages 898 to 902 and pages 909 to 914 from your textbook. These are also about the immune system. This assignment is due on Monday for all you guys in the A classes and on Tuesday for you guys in the B. You guys have a good weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye.
By that again. This right here is a picture, an outline of a human body, and this is a castle, and both of them share the same goal. The goal of a castle is to protect everything inside and keep the enemies from infiltrating the castle.
Alright, take two. So we're talking about the non-specific part of the immune system. It protects you against germs in general. By far the most important part of that is your skin. People who get burned really badly, what two things are most likely to kill them when they get burned really badly? Infections and dehydration. Because the two main things your skin does for you, put it that way, it keeps out germs and keeps in water. Keeps you from desiccating, from drying out. So it's a barrier, obviously. But a lot of people don't realize it's really more than a barrier. It also makes some chemicals to help protect you. Some of the skin secretions are acidic and also antibacterial. So it makes chemicals to help protect you. It also has urea in it. Now that sounds like urine, right? We know your sweat has some of your waste. Whenever you eat proteins and digest them, run them through cell respiration, what waste product is made for protein digestion that you need to get rid of? You guys don't know this. What is that? That's ammonia. Whenever you eat proteins, your body makes ammonia. Ammonia is pretty toxic stuff. Just tell you have a whole lot of ammonia in your body. So your liver will take the ammonia made during cell respiration and convert it to this stuff, urea, which is a little bit less toxic. But it's still toxic. Which organ will eventually get that out of your body? The liver makes it. Which organ gets rid of it? That's urine. Which organ gets rid of it? Okay, before that. Your kidneys. Okay? Your kidneys filter it out of your blood. So, but some of it comes out in your sweat, and it is a toxic material, so it kills germs in your sweat, which is a good thing. One of the coolest named cells in your body, I think, are these guys, natural killer cells. These are white blood cells floating around in your body, and they're looking for cells with the wrong what? What's the word for those things sticking out the surface of your cell membranes? Yeah, the MHC, the major histocompatibility complex, the name tags, right? Those things sticking out the surface, the glycoproteins. It's looking for cells with the wrong ones. A lot of times what it finds are your cells that have mutated. And what does it do? What might those mutated cells become? If you're not careful, cancer. So these natural killer cells, it's their job to get rid of them. You probably all had some cancer cells at some point in time or other. But these cells get rid of them for you. And they get rid of them for you with a chemical called perforin. What's that sound like? Perforate, right? Perforates when you put little holes in things, correct? These proteins act sort of like little daggers. And that natural killer cells stick them in, and all their insides of the cells just leak out if the cell dies. So basically it stabs it. Perforins basically stab a cell, kill it. Another important part of your non-specific immune system, just protecting you in general, is inflammation, swelling. Your tissues are held together by connective tissues, right? They're connective tissues that hold things together. One of the most important cells in connective tissues are these guys called mast cells. They're a type of connective tissue, help to hold you together. When they get damaged, like when you get a cut or a bruise or a burn, any kind of damage to these connective tissue cells, they basically send out an SOS signal. And that OS signal is composed of two chemicals, histamine, which you've probably heard of before, and another group of chemicals called prostaglandins. But these are basically their SOS signals saying we're hurt. What responds to that SOS signal? Your blood vessels. When your blood vessels get hit with those two chemicals, what do? What's really the only two things your blood vessels can do? Yeah, but what can your blood vessels themselves do in response to something? They can dilate or they can constrict, okay? If you're hurt, what do you think they're going to do? Dilate or constrict? They dilate. Now at first, it's called vasodilation. At first, that doesn't make sense that if you've got a cut, you send more blood to the cut. But what are you trying to get to there? White blood cells and what are the other important cells you want to get to a cut? Platelets, the clotting cells, thrombocytes. So these signals basically send more white blood cells, send more platelets, help to start the repair of the cut, the break, the bruise, whatever it may be. All right, another important part of your non-specific immune system is called interferon. I don't know why that's not going away. Interferon down here at the bottom, that word sounds a lot like interfere, right? What it interferes with is the lytic cycle. What's the lytic cycle? What is the lytic cycle? Help me out. Reproduction of viruses. So it helps to stop viruses from reproducing. Slows it down at least. Not any specific virus, viruses in general. It helps to slow down virus reproduction. Scientists can now make this chemical in the lab, and they use it to treat HIV, hepatitis, other kinds of virus diseases. Still going down our list of non-specific immune system parts. Stomach acid. What's the pH of your stomach like? Help me out. What's the number for the pH of your stomach? It's like 2-ish, which is really, really, really acidic. What acid is it? What acid makes up your stomach acid? Hydrochloric, okay? Same stuff you use in chem lab, hydrochloric acid. It's strong. Most germs are made mostly out of what? You take out the water. What are most germs made out of? What's most of your body made out of? Take out the water. What's always the answer to my questions? Proteins, okay? When you put proteins in acids, what happens? What's the word? What's the word? You put proteins in acids. Denature. They denature, kills them. Kills the germs. So pretty much everything that goes in your mouth has germs on it. Most of those germs don't make you sick because stomach acid kills the germs before they can do any damage. Another important term that you may not have heard of before is this one, flora. Your body's normal flora. You might have heard this word, or this phrase, flora and fauna. Anybody know what that is? Flora and fauna. Those are Latin words, and they mean plants and animals. Flora and fauna. Plants, so like the plants and animals in a biome, in a certain place. Now, you don't have any plants or animals living inside your body, I hope. So what might we be talking about here? What is living inside your body and own your body? We got bacteria, okay? Bacteria, those are living on or in you. And a lot of those are good. For example, in your digestive tract, like in your intestines, you have millions of bacteria. And one of the things they do is they just keep other stuff from growing there. They take up space. And they keep stuff that would make you sick from growing there. In a woman's reproductive tract, there's all kinds of bacteria growing in there. And they keep what mainly from growing? Yeast. You get on antibiotics, you kill the bacteria, but you don't kill what? You don't kill the yeast, so it causes yeast infections. So the normal flora are bacteria that live in your intestines, live on your skin, live in the reproductive tract, and they basically just help to keep other things from growing in it that you don't want to be growing there. Another part of that non-specific immune system are phagocytes. And you know what those are. Phago means what? Eat. Okay? These are cells that eat things. They eat them and then destroy them using what? What do they destroy the things they eat with? Lysosomes, right? Lysosomes. They do what kind of digestion? What's the kind of digestion where you take it in and you break it down with lysosomes? How about intracellular? Intracellular digestion. Get out of the chair for this. So these names here, neutrophils, monocytes, macrophages, those are different kinds of cells in your body that can be phagocytes. So there's a lot of different ones. But they just eat general germs, not a specific germ, germs in general. And that's what all these things are doing. They help to kill germs in general, no specific one. Saliva, also tears. Both of those chemicals have enzymes in them called lysosomes. As soon as you see that word lyse, you know it's something that does what? Breaks it down, kills it, cuts it. It kills germs. How many of you have ever had an eye infection? Not many, right? And most people that get eye infections are people that do what? Because they wear contacts most of the time. And you're always touching your eyes and you're putting germs in your eyes. But think about how open your eyes are to the environment and how many germs probably get in your eyes and how seldom people get eye infections. This is pretty rare. A lot of that's because your tears have this chemical in there. They protect you. Think about how seldom you get infections in your mouth and all the stuff you put in your mouth. Saliva helps to protect that. A couple more of these things real quick. The mucous membranes. We know you got mucous membranes that line, obviously, your respiratory tract, your nose and stuff. But they line every opening into your body. Every opening in your body is lined with these mucous membranes. And their main job is to what? What's the mucus do? Filters, right? It keeps stuff from getting in. When you breathe air, it catches germs in the air. It also helps to moisten the air and warm it up, but the main job is to filter out germs. And then the last one of these we'll mention are called pyrogens. Pyro means what? Fire. Okay? Hopefully you don't set yourself on fire. But what you do when you get an infection is your body turns up the heat. It kicks up metabolism, raises your body temperature. It's your body that's making the heat, not the bacteria, not the virus. Turns out that certain parts of your immune system work better when you're hotter. Which means, what do most of you do as soon as you find out you have a fever? What most people do as soon as they find out they got a fever? They go take an Advil or Tylenol or something like that. Is that necessarily a good idea? Bad idea. Your immune system works better when you're hotter. If you take that Advil, you're going to feel better because having a fever makes you feel terrible sometimes, right? But when you take the Advil, what have you just gotten the length of your infection? You've lengthened it because your immune system doesn't work as fast when you're colder. So keep the fever if you can. Go to bed, try to sleep it off. Now if you've got 104, 105, something like that, then you probably ought to take them. But if you're, 99, 101, 102, keep the fever. You'll get better faster. It'll help you. So all these things we just got through talking about are parts of your immune system that protect you against everything in general. Not a specific virus, not a specific bacteria. They just protect you in general. The other part of your immune system, which we're going to start talking about right now, is called the specific or sometimes acquired immunity. which means you have to what? If it's acquired, what do you have to do? You have to get it. You have to build it up. Who in this room's got the best immune system? Probably. Probably me. Because I've seen more germs, right? Beat more germs. My body has more what we call memory, immunological memory, immune system memory. It's killed more germs. It remembers how to kill more germs. I've had more infections and got over more infections than you guys have. Now, a couple other terms that you got to know, and this is maybe the most important one of the day, is this term right here, antigen. And we talked about that word before. An antigen is any foreign what in your body? Protein. Any foreign protein. Any protein that's not supposed to be in you. So it could be a piece of a virus. It could be a part of a bacteria, a part of a worm, part of a protist. It could even be something like the pollen or dust. Any foreign protein in your body. In response to antigens, what is your body specifically manufactured to deal with that one specific antigen? Yep, antibodies. I want you to always get those two words together. Antigen is a foreign protein in your body. An antibody is a protein your body makes in response to the antigen that will help your body to get rid of it, kill it, or to flush it out. So antigens are foreign proteins. Antibodies are chemicals that your body make in response to that antigen that will help you get rid of it. All right, well, what we're going to talk about now, your specific immune system has two main parts. They're called antibody-mediated immunity, or sometimes it's called humoral immunity. And the other kind is called cell-mediated immunity. We're not going to get to that today. But this is the first part of your specific immune response. And here's what happens. Let's say that Megan up here just got the flu. It's the kind of flu she's never had before. Flu virus, influenza. She's got cells in her body, phagocytes, that are going to just sort of randomly bump into that flu virus, eat it, phagocytize it, intracellularly digest it. When they do that, they're going to break it into pieces, right? Proteins. And what do we call those foreign proteins? Antigens. Thanks. They're going to take some of those foreign flu virus antigens and run them up their flagpole. Remember we talked about the flagpoles on these cells? And what did we say those were called? MHCs. Turns out all the phagocytes in your body have a kind of MHC called MHC class 2. You need to know that. Your phagocytes have these cells called MHC class 2 glycoproteins. And I want you to think of them sort of like a trophy hand. When that white blood cell has eaten that germ and killed it, it holds it up and it says, here's what I did. I killed this thing. It's like those movies where the cannibals or somebody catches a person and they cut off their head and they stick it on the stick. And they show it to everybody to see. Well, like the Lord of the Flies, they did that, right? Anyway, regardless, it's holding it up saying, hey, this is in us. Look for it. If you see it, kill it. It's not supposed to be in there. So it's sending out a signal. It's sending out a signal saying, this thing invaded our body. We need to hunt it down. We need to kill it. It's like MHC class 2. That process of killing the antigen, killing the germ, and sticking its antigens out on this MHC class 2 protein, that's called antigen presentation. It's presenting the antigen to other white blood cells. It's warning them. All right, this macrophage is going to release a chemical called interleukin-1. Now look at that word. Inter means what? Between. And what's leuco mean? Talked about this in class the other day. Leuco. It means white. So this is a message between what? White blood cells. It's a message between white blood cells. And this particular chemical activates or turns on cells called helper T cells. Now you've probably heard of those before. Guys, y'all gotta be quiet over there. Helper T cells, where have you heard of helper T cells at before? What zaps your helper T cells? What AIDS kills. Okay. AIDS wipes out your helper T cells. But let's talk about what the helper T cells here do first. The macrophage releases this chemical. It activates the helper T cells. Some of the helper T cells all the helper T cells have receptors on them that are genetically determined. Genetically determined, like active sites almost, receptors. They'll come in and they'll try to fit to that antigen on the macrophage. So the macrophage has the protein up on its class 2 MHC, maybe something like this, and different helper T cells are coming and trying to dock with that. When one comes in that will fit, like a substrate in an active site, when it'll fit, it's turned on. And this interleukin helps to turn it on. As soon as that happens, as soon as we find one that fits, the helper T cell releases another signal. It's called interleukin 2. And that causes that helper T cell to start cloning itself, because it will fit to that antigen. And if it'll fit, what that means is that it can turn on the immune system to kill that particular germ. So we've got to find one that fits first. And remember, the fit is a genetic kind of thing. It's genetically predetermined. So this interleukin 2 is going to get released to cause the helper T cells to clone. But they're called helpers because they help to turn on something else. They help to turn on the main part of your immune system in this regard. They're called B cells, or B lymphocytes. Once the helper T cells activate the B cells can become one of two different types of cells. Some of them remain behind as what are called memory B cells. These have the right code for making the right antibody to kill that specific germ. And these codes will all come about through alternative splicing, alternative DNA splicing. That's how I can make so many different types of B cell receptors and therefore so many types of antibodies. The rest of your B cells, most of them, transform into what are called plasma cells. These basically become antibody-making factories. They make an antibody that's very, very specific for the particular antigen that happens to be in your body at the time. This antibody will only work against that particular antigen or that particular germ. In terms of the ways antibodies help us to get rid of germs, one way is that they bind to the pathogens and they're sort of a mark for death. The guy who writes our outlines that we use talks about them being like a handle. There's a part of an antibody that's very specific. This binds to the antigen. There's another part called the constant region of the antibody that acts sort of like a handle that other types of white blood cells will grab onto and then basically escort that germ to your urinary system, to your kidneys, and then those germs will get flushed out of your body. Other ways that antibodies can help is they can cause agglutination, like clumping, or they can make it easier for macrophages and other types of white blood cells to recognize the germ and therefore engulf it and intracellularly digest it and destroy it. It can be sort of like marks for death. But remember that after an infection, there are memory B cells that are left behind. These give you, if you get that same germ again, these give you a very quick response to the germ. You make antibodies very, very quickly, and you make them in huge amounts, so quickly, so fast, and such a large reaction that you never usually even have any symptoms the second time around. All right, that's it for antibody-mediated immunity. Remember, this type of immunity helps to kill specific germs that are located in your body fluids, like in your blood, in the fluids between your cells, also in your lymph system. We'll talk next about cell-mediated immunity, which helps your body to destroy your own cells that have an infection inside, like a virus infection.